Hello, people. It was a longer break than I expected, in part because some things came up that I had to take care of. So now I'm going to eat some food while we're waiting for people to show up, and then we'll go. These garlic edamames are slippery. No notification from Twitch. Well, yeah, it's not supposed to work. You're right. It's the web. It's supposed to maybe do things eventually. This is one of the better Vietnamese restaurants to get Uber Eats from. I used to like this place many years ago, like in the 90s and early 2000s, and then I forgot about it. Because I never go in that neighborhood. Yep, we finished below. What are we doing? We are going to fix a camera bug. And then we're going to work on the mirror graphical effect that I said I was going to work on a couple days ago and then lost motivation because I didn't know what to do. Now we're just going to try something. Yeah. Can you get some feedback on a UI design you did in Photoshop? I think you can get that feedback from the channel here. Everyone can say things about it if you link it. Did I take a look at the new Doom maps? No. I mean, I watched Romero's stream when he was playing them for a little bit. But I didn't play them. Has the movement support system come together? I did, I mean, depending on when you watched, I did more things on it, but I still haven't done the changeover of the supporting logic. But we sort of started doing it one way, and I said, oh, that's not good. And then we started doing it another way, and then I decided, oh, that's not good. I haven't gone back and done it the third way, but the third way is going to be kind of a fusion of the first and second ways, so it has not been wasted work. But no, it's actually not done yet. But I just felt like while my subconscious was stewing on the proper solution to that, I felt like it would be good to go back and take care of some of these other things in the game that need to happen. That way you don't let momentum stop in certain areas. What is supposed to be smart about smart notifications? I got peanut sauce on my wrist rest. What's going on in chat? How are people doing? Are there any questions while I finish this little bit of food before we get started? This place is good. It looks like any regular Vietnamese restaurant, but they're so good. I got salmon on salad with, greens and carrots and cabbage, and garlic edamame, and shrimp rolls. Ethereal wrist rest. It has a daily dose of pectin. 0.003 times the daily dose of pectin. .003 ESP units of pectin. That's what it is. Does the meal have a name? No, it's just some stuff I ordered. I just ordered these separately and they arrived. Was my stream down? Well, I took a break for a while, yeah. We just restarted about 10 minutes ago, and then I've just been eating and chatting, and we'll start programming in a minute. I mentioned in a previous stream that level files would be shipped in something close to object machine code. You don't understand where the performance improvement comes from. No, it's not close to machine code because there's not really code. It's that the data format is a binary format instead of a text format. And the improvement comes from, first of all, every level would be packed into one file instead of hundreds of files, which it is now, because right now every entity is its own file. So it would be one file instead of hundreds of files. And then that file would be much easier to load because in a binary format, you tend to have things of a fixed size. So if you have a floating point number for an object's x coordinate, it's just 4 bytes that you can just load in and then either use exactly as they are or reverse the byte order if it's on a different platform, right? Whereas if you have a text representation of a floating point number, you have to start loading ASCII characters and doing a bunch of math in order to convert that to the actual float that you care about, right? And so on for everything. You have to do like memory allocations and stuff. Like if you have a string and you're loading a string, you don't know how long it is out of a text file. So suddenly you're in dynamic allocation land, potentially, right? Whereas if you're loading a string from a binary file, you write the length first and then the bytes. And so when you're reading it, you know exactly what the length is, and so then you know where to put the memory, right? So just a lot of things like that add together to make it much better. Why do you use text now? Because source control can merge it is the main reason. But yes, also because it's easier to read and debug. Was the guy that made Mirror Isles and the Lily Pads game involved in the game in some way, or is it more of an homage thing? He is involved in the game in some way, yes. Yes. It's not, we're not just, I mean, we have the exact levels, so if we were to ship this game without him being involved, it would be an intellectual property problem. So, yeah. Did I do much work on The Witness to avoid slow down people from pirating it? No, I didn't. Do I think it's something achievable worth the effort for non-AAA games? I'm not sure. I mean, the number of people who pirate games is just massive. Like, it's 90%, I think, right? So 90% of the people who play your game didn't pay for it. That said, maybe a lot of those people didn't play very much because they weren't that interested. It's hard to say. But that number is pretty consistent. Like anytime somebody tries to measure it for an indie or AAA game, they come up with 85 to 90%. Well, unless you have DRM, right? When it comes to DRM, the problem is it's likely to interfere with legitimate users being able to play the game, and I'm very reticent to do that. Do I think car tunnels will become common in the future? Possibly. I think if they work, then yes. Yeah, 90% does sound insane. But like I'm saying, every time somebody has measured, that is the number they come up with. Sometimes it's higher, but 85 to 90 is the usual figure. How is this even being measured? People do it in different ways, but sometimes you just have a game that calls into a server when you run it, but it's not part of DRM, right? So pirates don't have an incentive to disable it. But there are other ways of estimating too, like just going to common pirate sites and looking at the number of people downloading and like doing some math to figure out how many total have downloaded it and that kind of thing. Do I dislike it when people use the Nouveau and anti-piracy measures like that, or am I okay with it? Well, there are downsides, right? So like if I buy a game, I think I should have the ability to copy that and reuse it in the future. Something like de Nouveau prevents that, and that's really annoying. That said, I mean, dude, I totally understand. There's so much money at stake. I totally understand why people use that kind of scheme. Dude, it's hard to stay in business, right? We had 2 very successful games, and we're in business, but we're not super comfortably in business. Like if the next projects that we do don't do well, then we're in trouble. like if Sokoban game, if nobody buys it, which is quite possible in today's environment, it's possible we might have to shut the company down, right? So despite having 2 hit indie games, we're not in that comfortable of a position. And that is not unusual for independent developers, right? Now, if you imagine, like, it's true that most people that pirate your game wouldn't buy it. But imagine that just 10% of the people who pirated it would buy it, right? Just 10%. Then at that 90% piracy rate, 10% of those people buying it instead almost doubles the amount of money that you make, which would catapult us from being in a precarious position to being in a very comfortable position, all right? And that would make the difference. A lot of developers who have gone out of business would not have gone out of business if they were making twice as much money as they do. So it's kind of a big deal. But that said, I don't think there's a good solution for it. Is that 90% rate different in the USA alone? I'm not aware of anyone who has measured it by country. I would assume that piracy is lower in the USA than it is in other countries. But, I mean, I would assume it's lower per capita. But the number of people who play a game, you know, like a game that I would make, is heavily skewed toward Western countries. Well, less so now. Like China is starting to buy a lot of games, Japan, but you know, US, Canada, England, Germany are the top countries by population that buy these games. So, you know, even if the rate of piracy in those countries per capita is lower, the total number of people is probably higher, the majority. Probably, but I don't know. Can't Casey just write unbreakable software? Well, I don't think he is motivated to do that. He is very much more, he has much stronger feelings about, you know, the ability to copy a game that you bought than I have even. So I don't think he would do that. In Argentina, pirating games is the norm. Yeah, almost nobody bought The Witness in Argentina, by the way. The number of people who bought the game from that country, I think I figured it out at some point, and it was like 80 people or something. 80. Maybe it was less. So yeah, people in Argentina, I totally believe they don't buy games. How would PUBG run? I don't think the programming language is a big factor for PUBG. It's they're using a licensed engine and then not doing things optimally for that engine. And B, you know, they're just not the highest technical capability programming team, right? When a game is slow like that, A little bit of what's going on could be attributed to the programming language. But a lot of it is just like, look, if they just sat down and did it the right way, it would go a lot faster. And that doesn't have to do with language. It has to do with how your data is processed, what the input data looks like in the first place, and that sort of a thing. Common in countries with crazy currency conversion rates. Not sure if you set different prices for different places, but 20 in the US and in Russia have very different value. Yeah. On Steam, for example, we have different prices for different territories, and that's standard. Like, Valve has a set of prices that they recommend for every country, and developers usually just go with the Valve price. Here in Colombia, I tell my friends to buy games, but I told that to a Venezuelan guy, and he was somewhat angry about it. I can understand why, though. Yeah, dude, Venezuela is a totally different situation, all right? I don't mind if someone in Venezuela pirates my game right now, but, like, dude, maybe you should just get the hell out of Venezuela. Maybe that should be your priority instead of playing video games. You know what I'm saying? Why not put a broken pirated copy of the game on the web yourself? I did that for Braid, actually. It wasn't broken, it was just an extended demo that asked people to pay at the end. Do I think a game like PUBG has any chance of really improving without a complete rewrite? No, I think you have to burn it down and recreate it. I mean, you could burn it down piece by piece so as to make it an incremental project, but yeah, you have to burn it down, the whole thing down eventually. I'm not going to read that article. Anyone who thinks The Witness is postmodern doesn't know what they're talking about. That's all I'm going to say about that. What was the reason for removing structive arrays as a language feature? Because I think we can do it better in a different way. That's very recent, the Steam pricing difference? No, it's been that way for a long time. It might just be that they're adding more currencies for more countries now. And so exchange rates, or you know, that takes into account more exchange rates, but it's been that way for many years. Yeah, dude, I don't even know what's going on with game, quote, journalism, unquote, anymore. Like, the number of serious game journalists is just dropping all the time. And the number of articles just posted by people who have no idea what they're talking about just keeps going up. So I don't know why people really read game journalism websites anymore. The number of good writers is really low today. It's really low. too early for us to do a debugger. We'll do one later. Or we'll do plugins for somebody else's debugger, or whatever makes the most sense. People don't really understand the business part of the problem. Pirating is somehow fun for them, so you need to talk more about going out of business if you don't get enough money. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know that me talking about going out of business is going to change anything concrete. The reality is people are going to pirate stuff unless it doesn't make sense for them to do that. Is it true that most sales happen in the first few weeks after release? For most single-player games, that is true. For both Witness and Braid, that was true. It can be otherwise for games that have really extended play times and maybe that release updates. So Binding of Isaac was not like that at all. Binding of Isaac did not sell very well in its first few weeks. But then, you know, Edmund kept updating it and people got more interested and the audience grew and grew. That happens sometimes. And then also for multiplayer games, they can grow over time like that. And maybe survival games can grow like that because just anything with long play like that really builds a community, and communities can snowball. I've said that software is getting worse in recent times, but games have been getting better. Why might there be such a discrepancy? Well, the reason is because games are actually trying to solve really hard problems. Like, how do I animate these characters quickly in this dynamically changing environment with collision detection and have the animation look beautiful and run that on an old game console in a limited amount of memory, right? Like, plus a million other things that I didn't mention, right? That's hard. It requires a lot of mastery. And so you need to be a good programmer to be in games unless you work at Bluehole, right? And if you can't hack it, you'll wash out of the game industry, right? Like, people won't hire you. On the web, you're not trying to do anything hard. You're just like talking to a database and like running some fucking if statements and, you know, trying to track people to give them ads or whatever the hell, right? Like, web programs are not really trying to do anything that's intrinsically very hard. Now, because the web is such a mess, and because, you know, the languages used that these programs are written in are such a mess, and because the traditions that have grown up around how you program for these things are such a mess, it's a lot harder to write those programs than it should be. And you're dealing with all sorts of, like, you're fighting fires all the time, basically. You're dealing with random garbage. But the actual things that web programs do are not very ambitious or complicated or difficult. And so you don't get those same kind of programmers. Or if you took two people, if you cloned a guy, let's put it this way, you cloned a guy, he's a smart guy, and he's got innate talent, if you believe in that also. And they both get the same education, high school, college, and then you take one clone and he goes and works for Facebook. One clone goes and works for Facebook. One clone goes and works on a game startup. After 10 years, the guy who did games is going to be a way better programmer than the guy who worked at Facebook. And if you have a conversation with him, he's going to seem a lot smarter. He's going to seem like he knows a lot about a lot more things. Why? Because games force you to be good. They force you to understand and deal and do well. All right? That's the difference. And if we ever lose that, then God only knows what's going to happen. You have an idea of how to make buggers more informative. Here's a prototype. I don't have time to play around with this right now. It's an interactive thing. But yeah. Yeah, I guess Rainbow Six Siege didn't do that well when it came out. And then they kept working on it, and it's got a pretty big crowd now. I think Twitch is in part responsible for the renaissance of that game. Wasn't there a talk I wanted to do about why software is so slow now? Yes, and I haven't done it yet, and I don't know when I'm going to do it. Can we assume that my next game will be released also on PS5? Well, it depends on timing and stuff. I don't know when Sony is going to release a PS5. I know nothing about that. I'm not hooked in. And I don't know when our next game is going to be released. If the timing works out, then sure, we would love to be on PS5. Web is not all about CRUD, though. Some engineers work on audio, video, codecs, latency, etc. Okay, look. If you're going through any kind of web service, your latency is going to be high. That's just how those are. So no, I don't believe that. Audio, video codecs, well, no. Everybody who's doing audio, video codecs, that's not web. That's internet. That's different. Or it's not even internet. It's like, you know, just doing a good video codec. Like, those people can be very smart, but that's not web. That's not web. That's regular programming. You might use it in a website, but, you know, you can use OpenGL in a website now too. That doesn't mean that doesn't make OpenGL web programming. You know what I'm saying? It's only web programming if you're calling the GL calls in JavaScript. You work on a package that tracks thousands of trains. The crappy software is because features trump performance. Well, tracking thousands of trains doesn't sound that hard, frankly. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you have to do to track the trains, but come on. Just saying some number of trains. If a number, computers are so fast right now. If your number is smaller than 100 million, I'm not impressed, okay? Numbers in the single-digit thousands range is not an impressive number for a supercomputer in the year 2019 to be handling. So this is another thing, is that the web is so bad that people don't even know how fast computers are. This is part of why people don't get good when they work in the web world, because everybody's perception of how good computers are is warped. Everyone thinks computers suck because they do when they're doing web stuff, and you just learn that that's what a computer is. It's real bad. We got to fix it. Do I have advice if someone wanted to release a multiplayer game on their own? It sounds like it would be an interesting instant ghost town. Not necessarily. So first of all, maybe not. I don't know. It depends. The game design has a lot to say about whether it becomes an instant ghost town or not. like if you can make it so that individual players can do things even without other people there, then there's incentive for people to stay and kind of do stuff while they wait for someone to show up that they could interact with or whatever. Whereas if it has to be you have to matchmake against somebody right now or whatever, it's very easy for that to become a ghost town. But yeah, it depends. As a developer of distributed cloud-based services, the difficulty in web programs is in the architecture, where how you put the data such that you can do a billion things at once with low latency. The things being done are pretty trivial. I agree 100%. It takes less programming skill to work on them. Yeah. Well, and then the other thing, that brings up another subject, which is just, there's a weird thing about web culture where people think data should be networked, or that you should use a cloud service to do something instead of computing it locally, when very often it's much better to have information locally. So that's a whole different thing, though. I don't know. Yeah, we had a mirror mesh with 40,000 triangles. That's more than it should have been, but it was like, oh yeah, let's ask someone to maybe fix that. You must be the only one in your computer science degree classes excited about C++ programming more than about JavaScript. Feels like you're in the wrong place. Well, maybe so. New Reddit is slow as hell. Well, I'm not surprised. Not surprised. Yeah. So that's the thing. So web people think I don't have to optimize because the latency is so high. So the thing that I'm doing is not that slow relatively. That's true. I've heard people make that excuse all the time. They don't seem to understand that their operation happens in serial with the latency that's already there. So like, hello, it's not like it's masked by latency. It adds, and not only does it add, it's like worse than linear, because some amount of latency is acceptable because it's within, human perception lag or whatever. I mean, not really, but sort of. But once you go, so you can subtract that. Basically, the amount of latency that you're adding is worse than it would seem as a straight proportion, not better. When I've said that games are getting better, do I also mean that they have become more interesting and that other software has become worse and becoming less useful? Well, I would certainly say, so games are better technically than they used to be. And they are better design-wise than they used to be. So it's two separate ways of improvement. The problem with talking about design of general applications is that general applications covers a great deal of ground of programs that do totally different things from each other. So I don't know how to compare different programs to each other. And so I don't know how to make a generalization about other software being worse and becoming less useful. I don't think you can say that in a blanket way. So for example, Google Maps running on your phone is way useful, right? Even though the UI is kind of bad and it's kind of slow, because that's just not a capability that we used to have in the world before that. But that doesn't mean that some other random ass thing that you're running on your phone is useful. So I don't know how to generalize to make such a statement. Do I like mobile phones? You hate when old people assume you like mobile phones because you're young. You know, I don't really use my phone for very much these days. I've given up trying to find interesting software to run on it. You know, mostly I use it for maps, and you know, I use it to check email or read websites when I'm at lunch, and I use it to play podcasts when I'm in the car and driving. That's about it. So I don't really use my phone as a platform for running general software. So I think it's failed at that, really. Or maybe failed is a strong word, but at least for my style of user, there are occasional pieces of software like maps that are worth using on a phone, but mostly no, right? That's just where it's gone. What about Discord? It's garbage. I don't know what that's in reference to. I don't know anything about Discord. All right. How about if we actually program? Wouldn't that be an idea? Let me get a drink and we'll program. Because I finished my Thai iced tea, giant sugar pot. Yeah, I run an ad blocker on my phone, and opening pages is not that slow. Okay. Now, oh, why am I opening a web thing? I just run my game. Local applications are better than web. Okay, so actually let's stay in game mode. So when I go into free camera here, it just drifts all the time to the side. I don't know why. Ignacio put in the free camera. I didn't. And I don't think it drifts like this. Wait, now it's going left. Now it's going up. Is this like something to do with the micro motion? This might be the micro motion. It's like super magnified for some reason. Look, it's going in a rocking motion. I never observed it long enough. It's going in an arc. All right, well, that might be easy. Where is it? Where is the camera mode? Let's just searching for variables. Camera mode. Got free. Oh, we're looking in the shaders. Don't do that. No, not CPP. What am I doing? We're not in C++. Okay. Game camera mode. So let's go into camera. Where is game camera mode defined? Player control. Gameplay. All right, so we're going to say camera added motion. Game camera mode is not equal to game. Whoops, not equal. Not equal game camera mode dot gameplay return. That might be it. Hey, I don't know why the micro motion was so magnified in that case, but I don't super care. All right, that was easy. I guess nobody really uses that because nobody told me about that problem. You know, since we just did a camera thing, what if we did another camera thing? What if I was thinking in the way that we have an intro camera that kind of pulls in at the start of a level, we could pull out a little bit at the end of the level. Maybe not even as much as we pull in. Like here. You know what I'm saying? Is it possible to create a workspace in the current thread, or is it always one thread per workspace? I don't. That's not a well-formed question. It does not parse. Does not parse. All right. Why am I messing around playing the game? I don't know. I don't know, man. Okay. So, when we go to a level like this, we're going to try having a little outro. Camera tracking motion. Oh, tracking motion is the wrong thing. Intro motion. Now, there's already a problem. Okay. The problem is if the camera intro motion hasn't completed by the time we do the outro, which is unlikely in regular play, but it could happen if someone's like a good speedrunner or something, because the intro is slow and we may make it slower, who knows. Then we'll get a hitch because the intro, the way we did this is we do it just based on time, right? And if we just start an outro and do the same thing where we go from the normal intro position to the outro position, then we're going to have a similar problem. Or we're going to have a problem where we're going to jump from the non-complete position to the complete position and then pull back from that. But I'm going to implement it that way first, and then we'll fix the problem. Let's get some chocolate. I have my fine Christmas foil colored chocolates. Is there a benefit to gameplay for having levels be independent screens? Yes, it helps you. It drastically limits the scope of things that you need to think about when you're stuck. I only have to worry about what's right here in front of me. That said, we do have the capability to make multi-screen levels, and there are some in the game, but the majority is single-screen levels, the vast majority. Chocolate. Okay. I'm just going to make a thing called update outro motion. And we're just going to copy this stuff, but we're not going to do the FOV thing in here, so it'll be a little simpler. Like all this FOV goes away. Okay, where is do outro defined? Or do intro. Does anyone set that to false? I see. When we restart the level, yes. Although we don't do that. Okay. So we're doing an outro. We're just going to do this dummy version. And we're going to change everything in intro to outro. So where is this variable defined? Intro time. This is so much better than trying to use ultra search. Intro time override. We could do that. That's one thing. Let's make a version 22. We're adding even more stuff to our ocean map. Version 22. Now what? Ocean map. Take me by the hand. Do you understand? Where? Oh. It's in camera. I remember now. Right? Come on, Emacs. It's not really Emacs, it's my keyboard, but. Okay. Go into all that variables, intro time. We'll make outros. Whoops. Not outro, outro. Uh-oh, did I do that here too? I did it here too. Okay. Okay, that's the tweaks. There we go. We need that. Okay. Now, though, we have to change the lerp order. I did outro here as well. Don't know what my problem is. Ocean mail, take me by the hand. Whoa, that was weird. Okay. The problem is the outro is fighting with the intro now. We need we only want to do this if transition mode is not equal to transition victory and return. Waiting for victory. Because we were like running the intro code and then the outro code right after is just stomping. There we go. Okay, so there we go. That is how you do it. That is how you do it. Okay, so okay. Let's just make one. So in principle, whoops. What? Why is that changing the ocean rendering? That's very weird. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to win it real fast. It didn't do it. Oh, because we start with the cameras. Okay, that's good. That's good. We're fine. We're fine. It's an edge case. We don't care exactly what happened. If the intro is not done before the outro happens, we're fine since the intro writes over camera.position. Then we use camera.position as the starting point for our lerp. Let's just do this. Whoops. So we'll just move less than we would have otherwise. Note must call update outro motion after update intro motion. Well, great. I think we're done. I mean, it's not really tuned, but again, we're going to tune camera style maybe later. We've just got the programming in there. Maybe it'll be slower. Let's make it a little slower. So, outro distance, we'll make less. Outro time. 7. So it's just going to be a lot slower and not really finish. Yeah, it's just like a little dink. Those blocks, just imagine how cool it would be if they kind of scratched the floor when you push them. That is on the list. We talked about just the other week how to implement that in the best way, and we will be looking at it. If the witness isn't postmodern, what is it? Why would you say that it's postmodern? What is postmodern about that game? Okay. I'm just going to check in my Bardstone test changes. Okay. So now we can look at the mirror effect. Will this game support 21:9 aspect ratio? I sure hope so, yeah. We probably do automatically already if you run in full screen. What games have I released before? I'll show you. I've released 2 games. Whoops, where is it? I've released, here we go. So if you go to this page, you'll see my 2 games, prototypes index.html. I have this game called Painter. It's about painting things. And I have a game called Raspberry. Oracle Billiards isn't really a full game. And Nice Wrench isn't really a full game. You can't really win either one. But these 2 are full games. And so you could play those and see what they are. Dude, somebody made a worse version of Painter in Unity, released it on Steam, and made like $400,000. So fuck that guy. He like didn't even understand what was good about the prototype. What game is that? I'm not gonna name the game on stream. He made at least $400,000 back when I looked, so it might be more than that now. Why did I stop development at the prototype stage for Painter and Raspberry? Well, for Painter, because I was working on Braid, basically, originally. I was working on a real game. But then, with this game, I actually continued developing it a fair bit. I have privately a version of this game that is much bigger. It's got a bunch of levels. It's probably got like 25 levels. I just never quite, it's not totally figured out. Have I ever played Antichamber? Yes. I was part of Indie Fund who funded Antichamber, I think. I think we funded it, didn't we? I don't know anymore. It's been so long. I'm pretty sure we did. Didn't I play the new version on stream? I might have a long time ago. It's just the gameplay isn't totally figured out. Like, I'm not totally happy with all the modes and stuff. It's not. It's not Raspberry 2. The prototype is like Raspberry 0, man. It would have been at least a year ago that I played that on stream, wouldn't it? I feel like it was just a long time. A few months? It had to be longer than a few months ago. Come on. No way. No way was it only a few months ago. Maybe. Maybe I'm just getting old and I forget. I don't know. Why am I doing a Sokoban? Because I had a good idea for something to do that I'm very excited about. You got to do what you're excited about. That is what I think. What do I like about Mist's game design? I don't... In the modern conception of game design, I don't like that much about Mist's game design. Except for the nonverbal nature of it, I like. But the actual puzzles, I don't like that much. But they're puzzles from the 90s. Like... is a long time ago before we learned a lot about how to do adventure game puzzles. So, you know, what do you want, man? What do you want? What do I look for when hiring programmers? I look for people who will be able to do the job, which most people can't. Ever played any of the Zachtronics games? Yes, I have played most of them. I like most of them. Did I ever play Abduction? Yes, I did. I played it on stream, I think. Didn't I? A long time ago? So my Sokoban will be more than a Sokoban. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yes, it will be more than a Sokoban. Come on. Come on. All right. So, okay, we did this outro. We're going to do the mirror effect. So, can hobby projects be successful? Sure. Minecraft was a hobby project, sort of. I mean, there's just one guy doing it. Seems like it was pretty successful, don't you think? Nah, Minecraft wasn't successful. Who are you kidding? Okay. I don't know why the ocean is not rendering all of a sudden. This seems like a really weird thing. What the hell? I don't like this. Maybe we'll have to... Maybe it's that I tweaked these? Let's see if this is happening. Oh. Well, these levels all have fake ocean anyway. Well, it looks like it's working everywhere but on that one level, so I don't know. It might be a rendering bug. You know, the fog effect in below was pretty good. Maybe we should upgrade our fog effect at some point. Okay. Yeah. It's true, fake ocean is pretty nice. Okay. What am I doing? I'm doing the mirror effect. So right now we're drawing these dots. And I'm just going to gradually morph this code into something else. So right now we're drawing these dots on the ground. We want to actually draw mirror streaks sort of up in the air, in the volume going to the player. So, well, we're just going to start on this level every time. I'm going to take out this smalls. Okay, now we're going to billboard these toward the camera. And I believe that we actually have the camera left vector and up vector. Okay. So what we want to do I just want to billboard these toward the camera, but in a direction that is we're going to have to change this piece by piece, because right now we have to deal with a multiple mirror situation. Like right now we basically have things in this array that's like one element per square. That's not the ideal thing that we want to have to draw anything, but we're actually going to use it right now. And then later we're going to convert it so that we just store like segments and not one per square. We still need to store something because we could have an arbitrary number of segments. All right, so for every path position, I'm going to say previous is or just to say mirage.path positions sub it index -1. Okay. Delta is it minus prev unit vector. So that's some vector in world space in the direction that the path is going. So either, you know, it's away from the mirror in one or the other direction, or maybe toward the mirror in the incoming direction. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Okay, so we have that delta. Let's just figure out endpoints. P0 world is actually prev plus z offset, where z offset is v300.5. All right. Let's call it x0 world. x1 world is it plus z offset. Okay, that gives us 2 points at the beginning and end of the path for that square. We want to make a quad. Okay, first, well, no, let's just make a quad and it's billboarded toward the camera. Okay, well, how do we do that? Well, we can project onto the we can either subtract the projection from the camera's forward vector, or we can project onto the left and up vectors, right? Either way, And then we can perpendicular that. Okay, so so left is dot product. Let's just do it this way. We're going to get the delta that we got. We're going to say delta minus equals dot product camera dot forward vector times dot product camera dot forward vector delta. So we're flattening it against the view plane, right? And then we can say, okay, well, there's a perpendicular direction, right? So we say perp is the cross product of the camera forward vector and delta, right? So the forward director is pointing there. Delta is orthogonal to it now and is pointing in some direction along the screen. And our perp is in another direction. Actually, we don't really need that. So we want we're going to say, how big is this in world space? Well, 0.1, something like that, you know. So the important thing is, so we're flattening this against the view plane, but it's still in world space. And we're still going to be drawing these lines out in world space. We're just picking distances for them, right? Okay, so we got perp. And then I mean, this is an arbitrary size that we're putting there. And then we'll say, okay, well, P0 is x0 world minus perp. P1 is x1 world minus perp. P2 is x1 world plus perp. P3 is x0 world plus perp. And now we just want to draw a quad. P0, P1, P2, P3, dot color. Let's just see how that goes. Num smalls is gone. I don't know what you're trying to do. Okay. We didn't set the texture. I assume the texture, oh boy. Render state leak. So now we've got like a line. This is fine. It's just the beginning of our situation. Let's do an immediate flush. Okay. Let's set the shader to no texture. No texture. Just gonna get some lines. Just gonna get some lines. We're just gonna get some lines. Alright. 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 Dot color. Let's not call it dot color anymore. I don't know why it's not blending. What is this color putter? We certainly don't need that. Okay. Oh. I don't know why we're having problems with the ocean. I also don't know why our streak isn't frickin' alpha blending. We're not using this cyan anymore, are we? Okay. I'm not sure. We gave it a real low W coordinate. Oh, it might just be gamma. Yeah, okay. Okay, it's gamma. It really is blending. Okay. So when we draw the mirror, okay, mirror.lit t, right. It's called mirror. So now it'll at least fade out smoothly. The ocean thing is really distracting. What the... what is your major malfunction, soldier? Let's put a particle system on that level and hope that it, like, does something. Nope. Why is our ocean not rendering? I don't want to have to debug that right now because it's a sidetrack. Okay. Okay. Is puzzle solving a good form of nonverbal communication? Well, it's part of one. I wouldn't say that it by itself is an entire system of nonverbal communication. It's not just going to be a line. It's going to be a better effect than that. The line is our starting point. What do we do here? I don't know why that would matter. The ocean. I want to figure out what is different here. So what if I don't draw the quad? Still happens exactly the same. What if I don't frickin' do anything from there to there? Probably still is going to happen the same. What if I don't do either of these? I bet it's the set matrix. Nope. Nope. Okay. What if I don't do any of these? I don't think that'll matter because number of mirages doesn't depend on that. Okay, it must be actually drawing the mirage. So what if I do that? I'm just commenting out the draw mesh entity. Hey, okay. So something that is doing it's possibly the reflection. What if I comment this in and say false? Okay, so we're not clearing that out in the ocean. It's a 0. That's a negative Ghost Rider. I think we got it. I think we got it. Yep. Okay, great. Great. See, we did this reflection thing and it just had some fallout. Okay, let's go back and ungimp this. We're ungimping. C++ not good for rendering? Well, it's as good for rendering as it is for any serious work. So it's better than some things. Okay. This is fine. I mean, it's a far cry from what we actually will want, but it's fine. So I think we're going to go all out. We're going to make a particle system. That's the letter U and the numeral 2. We're going to make a particle system. Actually, instead of having this per square thing, let's convert to like segments, because having these individual squares is going to hurt us. It's going to hurt us real bad. Maybe, maybe not. If we have segments, we can reconstruct squares though, so it's fine. Let's check this in. Okay. Yep. All right. Well, let's go to where we're drawing these streaks. Actually, let's gamma correct it for a minute. Something like that. We're squaring the lit parameter so that just to get the fade to be a little bit more, there we go. It's just a little more visible, the fade. You have to kind of compensate for the rendering gamma. Let's get rid of these sparks that I put in. Fucking sparks. All right. So, path positions. Let's call it segments. Must be a multiple of 2 in length. Contains start and end points. Oh, that's some noise outside. I was like, is that my phone? What's going on? Actually, no, let's not do goofy stuff like that. Mirror path segment. Screw it. Actually, let's just have it be array of struct A vector 3, B vector 3. Let's put our language to the test there. Right, this is just old code. We're going to say for mirage.path segments, well, we'll just call it A. Whatever, we're just giving short names. So then the place where we write that is also. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Fill mirror draw array is going to be I don't know if this really needs to be a callback. Yeah, it's goofy because I structured it as a callback, but we don't really need that for now. So let's just do it straightforwardly. Oh boy, we're going to be sorry. Okay, this is ridiculous. Let's just give it a name. I mean... Okay, instead of looking at the callback, okay, here's what we're going to do. This is a little grody, but we add a segment to the mirror segment array, then modify the endpoint of that segment each time the cursor moves. That way we don't have to do anything on procedure and add defer or whatever. Okay. Segment mirror segment dot A equals pause, segment dot B equals pause, array add, if array add array segment cursor pointer is a pointer to vector 3. If array add that, and cursor pointer is the address of array. We're going to fix this so that we don't have to do this anymore, but that'll happen maybe tomorrow. Array.count -1 dot B. Okay. And then if cursor pointer is cursor. We legit actually you know what? Let's just do it with a defer. Let's just do it with a defer. You know, I'm doing all this weird pointer stuff. Let's just be fancy pants. Okay, we're going to do the following thing. Defer if array, then we do this. Segment.a is pause. Segment.b is result.cursor. There we go. That's better. Except, I mean, we potentially generate this code a bunch of times. I don't know. Okay, hold on. This is not right. None of this is right, because when we get to these cases, we have to break off the segment and add a new segment. We're going to do it the way we had it. Even though wait. Okay. Let's just make sure that compiles, because we've done some things. Okay. Now, when we get down here, if array add segment.a equals cursor okay, well, I don't understand why we're seeing what we were seeing. Unless we accidentally add one per square now anyway. But we shouldn't be. We only add did we not come how what? We're swearing we compiled. Oh, no. Yeah, okay. No, it's correct. So we've got one path segment, and we put in the delta between A and B, and we didn't normalize that. So, or you know, we took the center points above each square. So it's fine. Before we were drawing 4 separate segments. Now we're drawing 1 for each line, which is what we wanted. Okay. So now we want to record the direction on the segment so that we can use that to generate effects. I guess we have the direction. Actually, we don't need it. It's obviously the vector between the endpoints. We might want to flip that later in some cases, but maybe not. Okay. Let's make some particles. And we're going to do a weird thing with particles, all right? So, oh, I think I started doing this. Yeah. Let's call it mirror streak particles. And what we're going to do is we're going to have an invisible particle system. And we're going to project that into x, y each frame, and we're going to use that, or we're going to project that along the mirror's axis, and then we're going to draw a streak instead of a particle for each of these, right? So let's, okay, it's going to be a lot more particles. Or, oh, whoops, I'm selecting the group. Okay. Particles per second. 50. This is even too active. This is too active. So, and then lifetime is 5 to 8. Just not really that much. And so we're going to use the size and the radius of these particles, and maybe also the alpha factor lately, but it looks like we're mainly using the radius here to draw streaks. Okay. Ay, ay, ay. This is called mirror streak particles. Okay. For the mirror, we're actually going to serialize this and see how it goes. So it's going to be version 9 and V9. So the first time a mirror we'll just do it when we okay. What is it called? Mirror streak particles. Okay, so where will we construct this? For now, we will just do it where we draw. And we will be... Okay. Mirror streak particles. Okay. Particles. So we're going to say that, and we're going to say p.entity flags is entity invisible. We don't want it to be drawn. We don't want these particles to be drawn directly. Directly, not direction. We're going to use them as source data to render mirror streaks. Okay. Okay. If okay. Okay. So, not colon equals. Don't do that, bro. Okay. So, Now what, you may ask? Let's just make sure it compiles. Probably doesn't. Whoa, what did I do? What? That's not an overload. Wait, what? What is a comment? You're highlighting part of the comment. Okay. Find. It's not mirror. Manager. Dude, we gotta fix some things in the compiler. All right, that's fine. Now, we have these. And then I'm gonna say, well, we're gonna say for source.particles. Let's do this. Okay. For source.particles, do some stuff. What is that stuff? Well, x0 world is base x0 world plus it dot position. We're not going to project the position yet. We're just going to offset them. And that's it. Oh, color is streak color. Color.w is we don't get a direct alpha here. Okay, hold on. Let's do size is, well, particle.size. So instead of streak width, we're going to go it.size times a half. And then for color, well, where do we draw the frickin' particles? Here. Okay. Unfortunately, we don't save the alpha, and all right. Okay. Particle, return float. Undeclared identifier emitter. Undeclared identifier source. Wait, what did we call it? Particles. Dude, you got so many names for the same thing everywhere. Everywhere. Well, it sort of did it, and then it ran out. Is that because it destroyed itself? I don't actually know. Oh yeah. So this one, emitter lifetime is -1, so it shouldn't be doing anything bad. Unless the fact that we're not calling render on it. Like maybe the render is doing some kind of sim update. Shouldn't be. Because we may render particles, or we probably render particles multiple times a frame sometimes. So shouldn't be doing anything, but that doesn't mean it isn't. Okay. Doesn't look like we're doing anything. So I guess we're just going to set a breakpoint and say, what's going on? Although when we let's catch this up a little bit so it doesn't start at nothing. Gonna catch it up. Yeah, it doesn't last very long for some reason. It's pretty weird. Oh, you know, I never... I never did the color thing that I just did that whole alpha for. Particles, it, and stick a pointer on each of these. And well, we'll just say color.w. Or alpha factor, and we'll say alpha factor is that. I don't know, man. I don't know. Sometimes I just don't know what to do. Whoop. Whoop. Okay, so we get some streaks. And then it's like they're all increasing and then they disappear. So, yeah, okay. Okay. Now, debug build. That's what we're thinking. Okay, well, let's run this thing. Running this thing. Oh, not that. Not that. No, the other thing. Closed solution. This thing. No, not the... See, the other one was on top before, so my brain was like, do the top one next time. And now that one was on top. Okay. Okay. We are going to want to break here, which is draw entities translucent. Getting hungry again. Oh, why did I open this file? Okay, so we want to know what's going on here. So we have particles. Great. It's got particles in it. It's got 82 particles. Maybe the world positions? Okay, so first of all, we're just adding these positions. So like, I don't understand how we ever saw any particles. because these particles are, oh wait, no, I'm looking at the wrong thing. These should be in the, yeah, these are in the object space of the thing, so that's fine. What's the color? Size of 0. Okay, so it shrank to 0 and it's still there. I mean, that's technically fine. We should tune the particle, whatever. Everybody is size 0. Or are they all size 0? That was one with a slightly non-zero size. Okay. Let's, just to keep things simple for now, we're not going to have them shrink because that might be an independent bug that's never exhibited. Just going to have them fade out. Growth. 0 to 0. And we want no initial velocity because this is light. Speed 0 to 0. And we need even fewer. Five particles per second, man. Okay. All right. I don't know why the having size 0 was messing with us, but it might have to do with generating floating point exceptions in vector normalization or something. I don't know. we're just going to skip size zeros for now. Okay, so this is still a crappy effect. It looks terrible. So the question is, how do we make it look less terrible? Well, the streaks can certainly have a texture on them. They can certainly be shaped. So we can make that happen. There could definitely still be fewer of them. That is for darn sure. It seems like there's not that many. I kind of don't understand why there's so many, but whatever. Okay. So we could put a texture on them. We can have each streak kind of be visible over a subset of its length. I kind of want a nap. You know, let's just leave this right now. I'm going to check this in, and this is going to be like step 1 in new mirror effect. And then we'll do another stream sometime later where we make it better. Certainly could be made better. It's just, I'm like, you know, my brain power. Oh boy, though. Hold on. Let's not do this in the editor. Because I don't want to create particle entities in the editor and then save them just because you were looking at this thing. All right. Let's catch that up like 5 frickin' .0. So you don't see them come in so slow. Boop. Okay. So yeah, we're going to work on making that better. What do art people do if guys are not making a game at the moment? We're always making a game. We're a game company. We got to be making games. Can you map the vectors to only the feet, core, and hands? We could do that later as a special thing, but not only people get teleported, right? Like blocks can get teleported and stuff. So We want to get a generic effect that looks kind of okay, and then we can customize it for different things. Could I make the beams little motes? I don't quite know what you mean there. Are we a game company or a language company? Well, we're not selling the language right now, so we're not a language company. We won't ever be selling the language, I don't think. I agree, though, that shaping it to the character is probably part of making it look good. When are we going to make a Battle Royale game? Obviously next week. Dude, I've got plenty of videos on YouTube of me blackout chicken dinnering, so I've got plenty of gamer cred here, man. Plenty of gamer cred. Oh, also speaking of gamer cred, let's look at the achievement stats for below again and see. Come on, Steam. Stop being like a web program. How do I... View achievements. View global achievement stats. Okay. 0.6% of people who bought this game have finished it, and I am one of those people. So that's some gamer cred right there, dude. Little motes or dust particles seen in light beams. Yeah, we can do that. I think, you know, first we figure out the geometry of the beam, and then we would do some shader thing to project motes to it or something. I mean, dude, how many people on this stream have finished this game? I would guess 2 at most. Roll call, who's finished below? One, 2. I think 2. My guess was correct. What are the percentages for Steven's sausage roll? The thing about below is you've got to realize, you know, when a game is new, people just haven't played it that far yet. Like, look. That's so weird. More people get in the pocket than retrieve first light bit. Only half of people who bought the game have gotten the lantern. More people have died than have gotten the lantern. Oh wait, no, this is found the. Oh, this is okay. Never mind. This is if you died with a lantern. This is getting the lantern at the top. Never mind. I was confused. Still, not even everybody gets the frickin' lantern. How many programmers working at Tekla? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's a lot more than I thought. How many of them have engineering CS degrees? I don't know. I honestly don't know the answer to that question. At least one, but not all, because I don't have a degree. Wait, 8? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 programmers. Damn. Damn, son. How many have played Below? Probably only me. I don't know. Does the 8 programmers include myself? Yes, that includes myself. Someone was asking about Steven's sausage roll. Where's my achievements? I have to install it before I can see that. I own the game. I've played it. Download my save games, bro. How do I see the global achievement stats? Steam, you're so bad. What? Oh, maybe it doesn't have achievements. Does Steven's sausage roll have 0 achievements? That would explain it. In that case, it's not Steam's fault, really. I think this is end of Steam for now. End of stream and Steam. End of my personal Steam. Obviously, the application Steam is still fine. Steven Sausage Roll, it's in the PC Gamer Top 100. They should have 1 achievement per sausage in the game. Cooked sausage number 1. Cooked sausage number 2. Cooked sausage number 3. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming by. Let's see. When's the last time I played Miyagakure? Oh, it's been a while. I've been asking him for a new build. He said it like a couple months ago. I said, hey, should I play a new build? And he was like, oh, it's not quite the right time for that. So it's been years, dude, since I played it. All right, let's see who's programming. Who is doing science and technology? Heartbound, Carl Sagan. How do we taste things? That's not programming. Nikra, developing my dream game completely solo. Well, anytime somebody says dream game, I'm like, oh, this isn't going to go well. I mean, good for you for trying, dude, but just like some words are red flags. A 2D RPG in Unity. School project in Unity. Migrating to Laravel ERP. Okay, it involves JavaScript, so we're not going there. I need an auto JavaScript filter. We could go to Musean again. We haven't hosted him in a while. So random projects in Rust or RPG with procedural generation, that could be fun.
Does not equal
Yeah, okay. He's got annoying music, but let's host this dude because we've never done that before. All right. Thank you everybody for coming by. We accidentally did do JavaScript once. It was a terrible mistake. Thanks everybody for coming by, and maybe we'll do something later tonight, or maybe we'll do it tomorrow. I want to do a compiler development stream very soon, possibly tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. How do you do JavaScript accidentally? You go to someone's stream and you don't realize they're programming in JavaScript. Bye.